you are selling yourself a complete and utter lie. What is going on with you has absolutely nothing to do with your age. It has everything to do with your mindset.
It's Evie here. Welcome to EML Radio, where we are always talking truth. All of those things you need to hear that nobody else is willing to say.
Welcome back to EML Radio. Today we're going to talk about aging and what getting older really means. So this past weekend, I went to an Aerosmith concert in Las Vegas with my 13-year-old daughter and my husband. Totally rocked out, totally had so much fun. But the whole time I was there, I was wishing that I had my notebook, because all these thoughts about the ridiculous story people tell themselves about getting older, and that why they feel a certain way, or why they have aches and pains, or why they can't do all these things in their life is because they're just getting old. And as I watched Steven Tyler up there on stage at 71 years old, and most of the rest of those band members were in their 70s as well, I was like, God, this is exactly an example of why saying that you're old is complete and utter bullshit. And for most people, all of that is coming from their own mindset. So I'm 47 now, and believe me, I look in the mirror on a daily basis and go like, girlfriend, we've got some work to do. Because physically I look a lot older, and I always seem to think that I age like in phases. Like I'll look the same for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, I wake up and one day I feel like, holy smokes, I look about 3 years older. But anyway, I digress. So aging and the process of aging and how I deal with that is really at the forefront of my mind these days. Probably also because statistically speaking, I have less than half of my life to live. And that's kind of scary. But anyway, I want to take you guys through a process that I use to help me, for one, keep my age and how old I feel in check. And most importantly, I kind of use this process in my mind in order for me to not wish for the future all the time. So I like to call this looking at your life in decades. So let's go from birth to age 10. First decade you're on Earth. What's going on? Well, really nothing. For the vast majority of us, shy of probably, a handful of important or impressionable events in our life, we don't even remember that whole entire first decade. So really think about that. That's 10 years of your life that, you were alive, but you don't even remember most of it. And for a lot of us during that time, we were thinking, oh, I can't wait till I'm older. I can't wait till I'm in high school. I can't wait till I can drive, right? Then we get into that next decade, 10 to 20 years old. And I think probably all of us could agree that's a really tough time in life, right? You're going through puberty. You've got acne. You're trying to figure out who is your good group of friends. A lot of us being bullied, being teased, right? Like those years through our middle school and high school are pretty tough times, right? But there are also a lot of fun times in there. But, for me personally, at 47 years old, if I had the opportunity to go back and be in my teens and 20s again, there is no way I would want to do that. Right? Like, those were great times, but they were also hard. And I mean, let's be real. Most of us are complete dumbasses at that time. We think we know everything. And those of us that are raising teenagers, man, we know that they think they know everything, but they really don't. So I think it's fair to say that none of us would really wish to go back to that second decade either. So then we make it through high school. We're in our early 20s, that next decade, 20s to 30s. For most of us, we were getting an education of some sort, or really trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our life. For the vast majority of people, we didn't have any money, right? You were scrounging by, and during that entire time, you were thinking and saying, I just can't wait until I have a real job. I can't wait until I get married. I can't wait until I find the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Or you're thinking, I can't wait to have kids. So that 20 to 30, again, guys, what do? We spend so much of our time wishing for the next chapter. So think about that. All the way from 0 to 30, have we really stopped to acknowledge and enjoy every day that we're given? No, right? And during that whole time, we're just getting older. And I can't tell you how many times people say like, oh, if I only could go back to my 20s, I would do this or this or this. It's like, no, you wouldn't. Right? No, you wouldn't, because you didn't know in your 20s what you know now. So saying that you wish you could go back is a complete waste of your current life. So let's go the next decade, 30s to 40s. Most of us were raising kids, finally kind of settling into a career. And like, if you're anything like me, it's like I thought we had kind of like finally arrived, right? My husband had gone through all these years, like 17 years of training. He finally had his medical practice. It's like, man, we've made it. Like my 30s, I was like, I've really got the shit. I like really know what's up. But I was also a young mom, and I was thinking, oh, I really just can't wait for my daughter to get a little bit older. So how many of you in your 30s spend time doing that? Making excuses about what you're not doing right now because you'll do it when your kids are a little older. You're not traveling right now because it's very hard to travel with all these kids, so you'll travel more when your kids get older. I point this out, guys, because I think so many of us spend way too much of our time wishing for what's next, instead of just really stepping back and enjoying and being present and absorbing everything we have right now. So in your 30s, starting to show some signs of aging, right? For those of you that haven't taken very good care of yourself, you probably don't feel near as good as you did in your 20s. Now, for me, in my 30s is when I really started to dive deep into fitness. And so I actually felt better physically, and I looked better physically in my 30s than I ever did in my 20s. 20s was kind of like partying a lot, going to happy hour all the time. I didn't have any kids, so my lifestyle was just not very aligned with health. Okay? So things have gone one of two ways by the time you hit your 30s. You're starting to put on more weight. You're struggling with trying to take weight off after having kids. Or the opposite direction, you're like, okay, it's time to now really start taking care of myself. And in that 30s to 40s is also that decade where you're just grinding hard at being a parent and putting so much focus on your career. So we're raising kids and we're just working our tail off to finally kind of arrive, right? To finally be where you want to be financially. And then before you know it, you're 40. And this is that decade that everybody says, oh, this is when you have a midlife crisis. Well, I don't believe in that, right? I don't believe that there's midlife crisis. I believe that you get to a point in your life where you do start to acknowledge that, statistically speaking, you're over halfway done. The average American lives to be 78 years old. So that means even if you're 40, you have less than half your life left, statistically speaking. But you have a lot of control over that. all comes down to how to take care of yourself, right? So what happens in our 40s, we all of a sudden start to have these kind of aha moments like, you know what? I worked my ass off for a good career. I've built a home. I have the car I want. I'm driving what I want to drive. I'm going on vacation a couple of times a year. My kids are now getting a little bit older, but yet you still are seeking the next best thing. And from a health standpoint, this is where the separator really starts to unfold. By the time you're in your 40s, if you have neglected to take care of yourself, you haven't eaten good quality foods, you're not getting exercise, you're not reducing your stress or working on good quality sleep, chances are you start to feel pretty cruddy. And I can tell you in my coaching practice for over a decade, the vast majority, especially of men that would come in and sit with me and we'd try to figure out how we were going to get their fitness improved, the number one thing they would say is, you know, Evie, I spent the better part of the last 10, 15 years trying to build my career. And now I'm at a place where I have the freedom and the money to finally do some of the things I love. But to be perfectly honest, I'm so out of shape and I'm so tired, I don't have any energy to do those things that I work so hard for. Same thing with moms, right? Women that would come in like, you know, I'm so worn out from taking care of my kids all day, I have completely neglected to take care of myself. So it's not that turning 40, somehow magically your body just started to decline. It's that when you turn 40, you're like, holy shit, like, what is all this worth? Because at the end of the day, if you haven't taken very good care of yourself, all the money, the good job, the traveling doesn't mean half as much if you feel chronically achy, tired, and worn out. So what do you do if you already are 40? Well, it's not too late, right? All you need to do is start taking better care of yourself. And then I can always help you with how to do that, right? That's what I'm here for. It's what I do. But you have to start by acknowledging that your age is not an excuse. And there are plenty of people in our current world that are proving exactly that. Steven Tyler happened to be an unbelievable example of it that I had in my face last week, right? 71 years old and rocking that stage like he did when he was 30. Now, there's something to say about that too, in doing the things that light you up and that you're passionate about. Because when he took that stage, guys, I can't tell you, it's like the energy he exuded. You could tell that he still wakes up and loves what he does. Now, is it a struggle? Obviously, right? I don't know him personally. We all struggle. But the fact of the matter is, he has done something with his life that he feels good about and gets excited about on a daily basis. And that's why he's still able to do that stuff at 71 years old. So I was on social media, I guess it was a couple of days ago, and had just, not someone I knew, but a comment that someone had posted about getting older. And I think the gal was 50, early 50s. And she said, wow, it takes forever to prepare to go to bed. CPAP machine, check. Like weighted blanket, check. It takes forever to get yourself to sleep when you're 50 years old. And I didn't know her, so I didn't say anything, nor is it my place to, right? She can seek me out if she ever wants help. But it was like, good God, what are you telling yourself? When you turn 50 and in that next decade into 60, right? 50 to 60, what happens for most people is now, after they spent all those years building a career, now what's the common narrative? Oh, I only have 5 more years till retirement. Oh, I only have 10 more years to retirement. I'm so tired. I have all this belly fat because now I'm going through menopause. Or I have all this belly fat because I'm 50. Bullshit, guys. Bullshit. Now, is your body going to look like it did when it's 20? Probably not. I can tell you for me that my body looked a heck of a lot better at 45 than it ever did in my 20s. I was ripped at 45. Now, 2 years later, I've softened up a little bit, but age isn't doing it. It's your mindset and your lifestyle that is doing it. So it's up to you to make that shift in your mind. And I highly encourage you in your 50s to stop using your age as an excuse. Stop saying that you can't wait till you retire. Because I'm just going to tell you something. There is not some magic switch that gets flipped in us with some current event, right? So you don't just magically turn 40 and start wanting to take care of yourself. You don't magically turn 50 and then go, oh, I'm just going to like completely change my behavior. And you surely are not going to do anything different in retirement that you're doing right now. Because if anything, you're going to struggle more because now you've got all this free time on your hands. And the truth of the matter is, without any kind of structure, with too much free time, we actually are less productive. So if you think that when you retire, you're finally going to start taking care of yourself, I'm just here to tell you, it's too late by then. You're going to have achy joints, extremely overweight, feeling like shit. Probably if you've neglected yourself through the first 4 decades of your life, in that 5th decade, chances are you probably are on medication or have some kind of disease or ailment by now. So it doesn't mean all hope is lost. What I'm trying to say to you is that it's never too late. But you've got to start by shifting your mindset. You've got to stop using age as an excuse. It is just that. It is an excuse. And ask yourself this. Do you then just want to turn 60 and then go, well, I maybe have 10, 15 years left? God, 10, 15 years? That goes by in a blink of an eye. Do you really want to spend those last 10 to 15 years not having freedom of movement, being full of daily regrets for all the things that you didn't do and now it's too late? Wishing that you had taken better care of yourself? Wishing that you had done things differently with people in your life? Wishing that you had done something that maybe is that secret little like dream that you have in the back of your mind? Do you want to be 60 or 70 and think on a daily basis, man, I really wish I would have just followed my dreams? Man, guys, none of us want to be there. None of us. So here's the truth that I'm going to leave you with today. Every time you say, it's because I'm old or it's because I'm getting older, you are selling yourself a complete and utter lie. What is going on with you has absolutely nothing to do with your age. It has everything to do with your mindset. Thanks for tuning in today. I so appreciate it. I really hope that going through your life in decades really helps you to stop and think and stop wasting time. Start taking better care of yourself. Start living your dreams and do not allow this life to pass you by with, at the end of your days, you are full of nothing but regrets. You have complete and utter control over that. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure that if you haven't yet, that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then also remember that we're on all different audio platforms. So Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and what's the other one? I always forget what the other one. Oh, and Spotify. right? And then you also can always just visit my website, evfats.com, and you can listen to the episodes of EML Radio right there on the website. And if you would do me a favor, when you're there, make sure that you give me a rating, either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That will really help me to spread EML Radio and spread the truth that we are working hard to spread. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.